What brought me here was kind of a lingering effects. I went through a bad, a rough marriage and a bad divorce about 5 years ago or 6 years ago, and just never lost some of the effects of that. And those effects just being anxiety, and I mean that's really the biggest one is anxiety. Um, Gosh, the overall quality of it. Sleep is a big factor. I did, my sleep kind of took a little hit. It was hard to get thoughts out of my head. Like I would be stuck on something, you know, and just be it at work or at home or whatever, and a lot of like, what if this happens? Oh my gosh, and what if this happens? And then it was just hard to get those thoughts out of your head, and you would just dwell on them. And I was grumpy all the time. I was irritable, and I will say this. Almost 3 years ago, so 2.5 years ago now, I got remarried. That's phenomenal. She's a great wife. We have a great marriage. However, those effects of first marriage just kind of started creeping into, you know, that marriage, and just was affecting like the peace and the joy that, you know, that should have been there. I don't get stuck on thoughts like I used to, you know. Yeah, and I mean they'll come and I'll remember, I'll realize like in the past, oh my gosh, this is something that would send me back a day or two or whatever, and that doesn't happen. But then nearly as often, and then when it does happen, it's not nearly as traumatic. It's like you realize what's going on, and it just stops before it explodes into. It was 2-3 weeks later, my wife had just made a comment to me that about the whole grumpy thing, and she goes, she's very sweet. She goes, again, not that you were ever like mean and grumpy or anything like that. She goes, you're not grumpy anymore. It's wonderful, you know. And I was like, that's awesome. But there was a noticeable effect, and then once she pointed it out, then I could see.
Okay.
And she's done it many times since that initial time too, where she said, "Wow, that brain thing really helped you out like crazy." This is by far and away the best help anything has been in dealing with